Hi guys, Michael Williams here from Nomadic Waters. It got a little rainy today, so we thought we'd take the morning off and show you a few of our favorite lures. You know, there are just some iconic lures that we think of for peacock bass, and you know, a lot of people come down with just tons and tons and tons of lures that they want to try out. But the drawback to that is that, you know, there are weight restrictions on your charter flights, so there really isn't a lot of room for, or a lot of weight capacity for just bringing a suitcase full of lures. And you know, all the years that we fished down here, we are just more and more convinced every year that presentation is far more important than the lure you're using. That said, we certainly have some favorites, so I thought I would just show you a handful of them. Again, this is not a complete comprehensive list of lures. These are just our favorites. So we'll start off with the iconic chopper lure, the prop bait lure. These days would be a mid-sized one. This one's right at 7 inches. These are amazing topwater strikes. This is a 1 or 2 fish day a day lure, but those fish are almost always going to be giant. We really love these. A lot of times we'll use these to tease some fish in. If we hear them way back into the woods that we can't get them, we'll run these big prop lures out, and a lot of times that'll draw those big fish out. That's one of our super secrets. You can get these from a few different manufacturers. You know, the more mass produced one is a rip roller, and this is the one that most people know. It's you know, commercially made. These are fine. You know, they're gonna run you around $25 a piece, and a lot of my guides run these because I've bought so many of them over the years. But I'll tell you, there's a new to me manufacturer, and K-Lures is a producer, and Kermit makes them one at a time, custom made. They're gonna cost you closer to $30 a piece, but let me just tell you the difference. They both will certainly catch fish, but when you look at just durability, see all these? These are all broken rip rollers that I don't have the heart to throw away because they cost me a lot of money, right? But they're 100% useless. K-Lures, this one cost me, I think, $29, and this will last me, this is my second season with one. These will last about a week. Now obviously you're coming down here probably just to fish a week, so it's not going to matter to you either way. But you bang this one against a tree, which is what you should be doing, is going to run fine all day for you. These, we're just constantly tuning them. So anyways, my high recommendation is K-Lures. Talk to Kermit and he will make them for you one at a time. All right. The other classic topwater, and we really focus a lot on topwater action here because that's what people come for. And the classic lures for topwater are the jumping minnow. A lot of my older guides, this is their absolute #1 favorite, and they can work it like magic. You must replace the lures, must replace the hooks. The hooks are just very, very cheap on these, but could put some good hooks on these, and this will produce really well for you. It's a little more difficult to get the perfect walk with this one, so if it's not something you're really good at, I would probably look at a couple of other recommendations. And that's just a good time to say something. This is where you come down and you bring your A game. This is not the place to say, you know, I think I'm just gonna learn how to use topwater lures, so I'm gonna go down and, you know, we will certainly teach you as much as we know and as much as you're willing to learn, but I would say come down and do what you're best at. If you're really, really good at topwater, come and fish topwater really, really hard. If you're better at jerkbaits or spinnerbaits or something that's midwater, you know, come down and just bring your best, and the fish will respond to that. Again, this is a great lure. It's a medium distance cast lure, and it's a little more difficult to walk, but it has a more subtle presentation that a lot of my veteran guys really prefer. The other classic is the saltwater Zara Spook. These are important because they're really loud, they're heavy duty. I would recommend changing the hooks on these. They're better than the jumping minnows, but they're fine. This is a good one. I wouldn't say it's great, but this is a good one. My personal preference is Badonkadonk, the saltwater high pitch Badonkadonk. You can see all the teeth marks on this one. You know, if there's a lure that's 100% on my rod all the time, it's a Badonkadonk. And what I love about this, it's a long cast lure. It's extremely easy to walk the dog. You can almost just start reeling it in and it'll naturally walk. It's loud. You do have to replace the hooks. You'll notice that all three that I showed you are bone color. That's our #1 color by a long shot. But there are some others that work. You know, we'll do the golden ones, or we'll do the red head and the white. Those are great. Not a lot of people are casting the Badonkadonk here. That might be another reason why it works so well. But anyways, big fan of this. So for topwater, that should probably cover it. So what they call here midwater would be, of course, the classic peacock bass jig. Now, a lot of times I'll tell people to bring jigs and they'll bring jigs, right? That's almost worthless here. You want something that's going to be a 6/0 hook. That's ideal. 4/0s are okay, but these are big fish lures. So you want a 6/0 heavy duty hook, a hook that's not going to bend out. I mean, we had handfuls of bent out jigs from last week. The hooks just were not strong enough. I'd say 7 to 8 inches is perfect, and 1/2 ounce to 3/4 ounce is perfect. I will throw, we'll just talk about braid here for my choppers. I'll throw the choppers on 65-pound braid, and I might even put the jigs on 65-pound braid. Again, that's one reason why we're bending so many hooks. But then on the topwater, I'll throw a 50 to 55-pound braid, and that's just perfect for that. You can buy these. You definitely just want to get peacock bass grade. So as you're looking online trying to find the right jigs, you just make sure they're designed for peacock bass. Colors, this is the red and the yellow is probably #1. Red and white is very good. Depending on your waters, like we're in the Watemat today, green and white or green and yellow tend to be really killer. But that's just, if you want to catch a lot of fish, and if you want to catch big fish, a jig is the way to go. Piranha will cut it down really fast. So if you're gonna fish these, you will need a 6 a day. You'll just go through them. They just will get shorter and shorter and shorter. It'll last about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then you have to change out. So just be prepared for that. Another sleeper or one of our biggest sleepers for midwater is a spinner. This is a big fish lure. Now, some people do make really heavy duty wire, heavy spinner baits. Here comes the rain. Heavy spinner baits for peacock bass, and we just have found that they're just not very effective. This is just a classic titanium largemouth bass spinner bait, and it's literally a one fish lure. You know, yesterday morning we caught a 15-pounder on this, and it was done. But you know what? That's totally worth it. Just bring a bunch of them, bring a bunch of extra skirts. This is a good way to go. Before the rain kicks in, 2 more I've got to tell you about. You can see all the teeth marks on this one. Yozuri makes a fantastic jerkbait. The crystal minnow we love this one. Red and white is great. All white is great. Blue and white is great. Here comes the rain. But I would definitely not fish this water without a Rapala subwalk. This thing, replace the hooks fast. They're terrible hooks. But this thing basically walks the dog, but it runs about 5-6 inches under the water, under the surface. And we catch giant fish on this little lure. This is a great one. So for topwater, again, #1 favorite for me is Badonkadonk and a big chopper. For midwater, I would go jigs. I would say my top 2 would be these for numbers. If you want big fish, I would say spinner or jig. So I hope that helps. Thanks for listening.